with another video. The 12 most frightening homeowner discoveries. I'm a homeowner, so I'm gonna go and check this out.
Twelve most frightening homeowner discoveries. Number 12, a meth house. Heather and Brian Van Order, a couple from Grand Rapids, Michigan, recently bought a new house last year back in June. What they didn't expect was to find that their dream home was actually used as a place to produce meth. The previous tenant of the house had lived there for 6 years and renovated the kitchen in order to cover up any signs of meth cooking. The couple has been trying to raise enough money on GoFundMe.com so that they can move out because of the high levels of methamphetamine found in the walls. Number 11, an unusual note. A Reddit user by the name of So Something left his home in the hands of a local sitter, and upon returning home, he found what may seem like a rather strange note. He then uploaded the note onto the popular site for everyone to see. The note lists events that the sitter talks about, from licking the silverware to a neighbor asking to borrow soap. The note also says, don't look under the back deck, because that isn't creepy. But the homeowner states he personally knows the sitter and trusts him completely. He believes it was nothing more than just a harmless prank. Number 10, a hidden door. A Redditor by the name of Nuke Storm had posted a set of photos from back when he first moved into his house a couple years ago. He happened to discover a small door in his attic that was roughly 4 feet tall and 1.5 feet across while he was bringing in some boxes. The door was also fastened with a metal grate over a hole. Once he opened it, he found a lone light with a cot and a wall that was padded with foam. The other side of the door isn't fashioned with a doorknob, so it can only be opened from the outside. He stated that if someone were to get locked inside, that there are no neighbors nearby to hear any screams. The purpose of the room still remains a mystery. Number 9, the oozing walls. Debbie Hill was moving into her new home, located in Colorado, when on a hot summer's day, a mysterious brown substance began to ooze out of her home's walls. At first, she was left perplexed at what this liquid could possibly be, until she decided to take a leap of faith and find out for herself. She tasted it. Surprisingly enough, it turned out to be nothing more than bee's honey, but with a more insulating form and decaying taste to it. The reason it was leaking was prior to moving in, there was a massive beehive infestation. So now that there were no bees to keep the honey cool, it began to melt out of the walls. Number 8, animal carcasses. A young couple in Pennsylvania made the shocking discovery that their newly purchased home was filled with the bodies of skeletonized animals. That's right, the walls of the house were filled to the brim with remains and spices. They came to the conclusion that this was part of a folk-type magic known as powwowing, practiced by old Pennsylvanian Dutch people in order to treat rural troubles and domestic ailments. The couple is in the process of receiving local donations in order to help them move out. Number 7, the secret room. Back in 2005, Jason and Carrie Brown discovered a hidden corridor that was tucked away behind a bookcase in the new home that they had just purchased and were currently moving into. They decided to see where it would lead them and followed it to a secret room. What they then found inside was a note from the previous owner, George Leventis, who stated, "I owned this house for a short while and it was discovered to have a serious mold problem, one that actually made my children very sick to the point that we had to move out. And by move out, he meant just leave. Turns out it wasn't just any type of mold, but black mold, which is highly toxic and deadly. They decided to do what Leventis hadn't done and sue the broker who sold them the house. Number 6, lots and lots of snakes. Ben and Amber Sessions had just recently moved into their new dream home, located in a small town in Idaho. Right after moving in, Ben started finding over 40 garter snakes in his yard each day, removing them in bucket loads. Soon after, they began to hear noises coming from inside the walls late at night while lying in bed. Ben removed a panel of siding from the wall and outpoured large amounts of snakes. The Sessions later discovered their home was sitting on top of a giant snake hibernaculum and eventually had to file for bankruptcy in order to move out of their home. Number 5, a burial ground. Helen Wiesensel made the shocking discovery of finding the skull and bones of a human child underneath her new Wisconsin home while carrying out some renovations. As it turns out, Helen had purchased this house with a little more than what she originally bargained for, a 170-year-old ancient cemetery, as confirmed by local historians and archaeologists. Because of her house's newfound status as an official historic burial ground, she had to get permission to redo her home's foundation, which would take a staggering 15 months. After the renovations were complete, Helen still went through with the decision to live in her home. Number 4. A bomb. Linda DeForest and her husband happened to discover a bomb that was still very much active inside the basement of their new home in Goshen, Indiana. At first, Mrs. DeForest hadn't realized it was a bomb and mistook it for a torpedo. Her husband knew it was real as soon as he picked it up because of how heavy it was. They contacted a family friend of theirs, Joshua Blankenship, who happened to be an Army veteran, and identified the bomb as showing no signs of being disarmed or disassembled. They then called an explosive ordnance disposal unit who came and removed the bomb. The couple believes that the previous resident collected war memorabilia and didn't want to risk transporting it. Number 3. Squatter. The story goes as such. 2 young boys happened to be playing in their parents' room when they accidentally dislodged the bookcase they were playing next to. The bookcase revealed a hidden staircase that led to a secret crawl space. That's not the terrifying part. The 2 boys found that someone had been living in their house for quite some time. They found some clothes, blankets, dolls, a key, and candy wrappers. Those candies belonged to the boys, so whoever was sleeping there snuck out and stole them while the boys were either gone or asleep. The police still haven't caught the person that had been living in the walls of the family's home. Number 2. Human remains. A local man in Indiana made a gruesome find underneath the wood shop in his new home. He was told about the trap door that was located there, and his curiosity led him to discover bones. The bones were later examined by an osteologist expert who identified them as being human. Furthermore, they were also determined to be a child's by noticing the epiphyseal line in the bones. It would also appear that the bones were cut up as stated by the man who found them. Some people speculate that this could have been one of the victims of the Candyman, a serial killer who mutilated, raped, and killed the bodies of at least 28 boys in the 1970s.
And now for number 1. But first, be sure to subscribe for new videos every day.
A mummified corpse. A man named Jorge Guido had just recently bought a new house that was located in the seaside town of Roses, Spain. He had gotten a great deal on it as it was a foreclosure because the previous owner had somehow mysteriously vanished several years ago. Unfortunately for Mr. Guido, he wasn't expecting the house to come with a roommate when he discovered the dead corpse of the previous owner. She had apparently died and no one even knew. They all thought she just got up and left one day. The bank failed to do a walkthrough of the house, and the real estate is just as to blame for not checking out the house before reselling it at auction. It's believed that the body had been there for around 6 years when the mortgage stopped being paid, and the salty ocean air is what helped naturally mummify the body.
Wow, you gotta be kidding me. They sold a house and nobody knew the owner was still dead in there. Wow. Alright, so basically you gotta do your research when you purchase the house. Alright, if you want to see more, hit me up, subscribe, comment down below. Alright.